Hey everyone, ready to become a railway electronic technician? We're going deep with RoleCatcher's resources today.
Yeah, they've got a ton of info, like over 120,000 interview questions.
Wow, that's incredible. And I heard companies use AI now to sort applications.
It's true. So a good CV or resume is more important than ever.
Makes sense. Your CV is your first impression.
Exactly, especially with AI. It's got to be perfect to even get to a human.
So, before the interview questions, what does a railway electronic technician actually do? RoleCatcher's career guide goes way beyond the usual job description.
Oh, yeah, it's not just fixing stuff, it's making sure the whole railway runs smoothly and safely.
So that means installing, inspecting, testing, maintaining.
Everything, from the train control systems to the radios and radar equipment.
Wow, that's a lot. Imagine working everywhere, stations, depots, maybe even on the trains.
You got it. It's a diverse job, but every job has pros and cons, right?
True. What are some of the biggest pros for railway electronic technicians?
Well, job stability is huge. The railway's not going anywhere, and skilled techs are always in demand. Plus, it pays well.
That is appealing, but RoleCatcher also mentions some downsides.
Right, like being around hazardous materials, having irregular hours, and a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, that makes sense. You'd need to be okay with those things.
Definitely. But if you are, it's a very rewarding career. And speaking of careers, RoleCatcher shows a clear path for growth.
Oh, how so?
They outline 4 stages: entry level, junior technician, intermediate technician, and then senior technician.
So you start basic and then move up to harder stuff and leadership as you get better.
Exactly. Each stage builds on the last one. At the entry level, you're mostly installing and doing basic checks.
I see. And then as a junior technician, you get to do more troubleshooting and testing.
Exactly. More independent stuff.
And I guess those responsibilities just keep growing as you become an intermediate technician.
Yeah, at that level, you might even be creating preventative maintenance plans or teaching the newer techs.
That's cool. So what about becoming a senior technician?
That's the top. You'd lead teams, work with engineers. Basically, you become the expert.
Wow, impressive. It sounds like there's a lot of room to grow and specialize in this career. Now, I'm curious about the skills needed. RoleCatcher mentioned public safety and security and building and construction, which kind of surprised me.
I get why those seem weird, but you're working with systems that keep people safe, and you're often working around complicated buildings and structures.
That's true. I didn't think about it like that. It all makes sense now.
It all ties together.
All right, I think we have a good foundation now. Are you ready for those interview questions?
Yeah, let's hear them.
Okay, first up, explain your experience with railway signaling systems. What's the interviewer really after with this question?
It's more than just listing what you've worked with. They want to see if you understand how those systems work and how your experience matches what they need.
So how should someone answer this? Go super technical.
Find a balance. Mention the specific systems you know, but focus on how you use them. Did you install them? Maintain them? Troubleshoot them? What challenges did you face?
I see. Show your practical knowledge and how you solve problems.
Exactly.
And any certifications would probably help too, right?
These certifications prove you know what you're doing.
Okay, next question.
Yeah.
Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex electrical issue in a railway system? They're definitely looking for a story here.
Oh, yeah. They want a story that shows you can think critically and solve problems, even under pressure.
So what makes a good story for this question?
Be specific. Don't just say you fixed something. Walk them through it. What was going wrong? What steps did you take to figure it out? What tools did you use? How did you actually fix it?
So show, don't tell.
Right.
And it'd be good to mention how your fix kept things safe or prevented delays.
Exactly. Show you get the real-world impact of your work. Okay, next. What experience do you have with railway communication systems?
That one seems pretty broad. What should people focus on?
Well, railway communication systems are a lot of things. Radio, telephone, data networks, even the PA systems. They want to know if you get how these systems work together in the whole railway.
So it's about seeing the big picture of how communication fits in.
Exactly. If you've worked with specific systems, mention those. But even if your experience is more general, talk about any relevant courses, training, or how quickly you learn new systems.
All right, next. How do you ensure safety when working with high-voltage electrical systems? This one sounds serious.
Safety is super important in this field. Interviewers need to know you're serious about it. Don't just list safety rules, show them you understand the risks and how to avoid them.
Okay, so what would impress them?
Talk about what you do. Do you double-check connections? isolate the power before working? Do you warn your team about dangers? Those details show you're thinking about safety at every step.
And I bet mentioning any specific safety training would be a huge plus.
Totally. It shows you're dedicated to working safely. Okay, next question. How do you keep up to date with the latest technology and industry trends?
Sounds like they want someone who's always learning.
You got it. Railways are constantly changing. You got to show you're not just keeping up, but actively searching out new knowledge.
So what are some good examples of professional development to impress them?
Attending conferences and workshops is great. Reading industry publications, being in online forums, taking courses online, those all show you're committed.
And if there's a certain technology you're excited about, don't hide it. Share that.
Absolutely.
Now, before the next questions, I want to talk about RoleCatcher's AI tools and how they can help you get ready for your interview.
Good idea. RoleCatcher's AI isn't just information. It can actually help you tailor your answers to the specific job you want.
Right. Their AI CC and resume builder analyzes job descriptions and suggests ways to make it better for recruiters and AI systems.
It's like a personal career coach. And their AI also gives you feedback on practice interviews so you can improve your answers and feel more confident.
Wow, that's amazing. RoleCatcher gives a very complete approach to interview prep. All right, let's get back to those questions.
Okay, ready for some more tough questions?
Absolutely, hit me.
All right, this one's a bit technical. Explain your understanding of electromagnetic interference and compatibility in the context of railway systems.
Oh, electromagnetic what now? That sounds pretty intimidating. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. Think of a railway system like a big orchestra with all of these electronic signals. Everything uses these signals, from controlling the trains to the radio communication.
Okay, I'm following so far.
So just like instruments in an orchestra can clash if they're not in tune, these signals can interfere with each other and cause problems. That's electromagnetic interference, or EMI.
Ah, that makes sense. So electromagnetic compatibility is like making sure all those signals play nicely together.
Exactly. It's about designing and installing everything, right? So there's no interference and the system runs smoothly.
Okay, so how should someone answer this question in an interview? Should they give a whole technical lecture on EMI?
No, not really. Just show them you understand it practically. Mention how important EMC is for railways and give specific examples of how you've dealt with it in your work. Maybe you've installed shielding to prevent interference or use special equipment to find and fix issues.
So it's about showcasing real-world experience and problem-solving skills.
You got it. You can even mention specific standards and regulations to show you the best practices.
Good point. Okay, next question. Describe your experience with fault-finding and diagnostic techniques for railway electronic systems. This one sounds like being a detective for electronics.
It is. Railway systems are so complex that when something goes wrong, it's a real puzzle. This question is all about showing how you solve those puzzles.
So don't just say, I'm good at fixing stuff.
Right. Instead, walk them through your process. What do you do first? What tools do you use? How do you read those test results? Take them behind the scenes of your detective work.
I like that. So they can talk about using multimeters, oscilloscopes, even special software to find the problem.
Exactly. And they should highlight their ability to read schematics, different troubleshooting techniques, and how they use logic to narrow down the issue.
And to really seal the deal, share a success story, a time your detective skills saved the day.
Love it. Show them you can find the problems and solve them. Speaking of problem solving, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze these interview questions and give you feedback.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's wild. How did that even work?
Let's say you're practicing for the fault-finding question. Record yourself and upload it to RoleCatcher.
Okay.
Their AI will analyze it and tell you what you can improve, maybe add specific examples or clarify some technical words.
So it's like having a personal interview coach right there in your pocket.
Exactly. And it helps you make sure your answers are clear, concise, and perfect for that specific job you're going for.
Okay, enough about the AI magic for now. What's the next question?
Back to staying current. This one asks, how do you stay current with safety regulations and industry best practices for railway electronics? Things are always changing, so safety is a big deal.
So how can someone show they're on top of things? Would saying they read industry magazines be enough?
It's a start, but they'll want more. Think about how you stay updated in your field.
Well, I subscribe to newsletters, I go to conferences sometimes, and I might take an online course now and then.
Exactly. Those are all great things to mention. Specific publications, organizations, or conferences really show you're engaged.
And those certifications are important too, right? Keeping them up to date shows you're meeting industry standards and learning all the time.
You got it. Now, this next one is about thinking ahead. Explain the importance of preventative maintenance for railway electronic systems. This is all about stopping problems before they happen.
It's like regular checkups with the doctor. Catching things early can save you big time.
Exactly. Preventative maintenance keeps things reliable, safe, and avoids those expensive shutdowns.
So how can someone show they get the value of preventative maintenance?
By talking about being proactive, talk about how you're all about those regular inspections, testing, and cleaning, how you find those little signs of wear and tear before they become huge problems.
So maybe they could describe a time when their preventative maintenance saved the day, preventing a big issue or saving the company time and money.
Perfect. Real-world examples are always powerful. You can even talk about different types of preventative maintenance, like using data to predict failures or focusing on monitoring how the equipment is performing.
So it's pretty strategic. Okay, next. Describe your experience working with different types of wiring and cabling used in railway applications. That one seems pretty straightforward.
Maybe, but it's more than just connecting wires. You have to know what's needed for different applications and use the right materials and techniques.
Gotcha, so they should talk about different cable types like shielded cables, high voltage cables, and fiber optic cables.
Exactly. And different wiring techniques like color coding, grounding, and how to properly connect the wires. And of course, safety is a huge deal, especially with high voltage systems.
So they should mention those safety protocols like lockout-hagout procedures and using the right protective gear.
You got it. Safety first. Always. Okay, this next one's a bit more personal. How do you handle working in challenging environments, such as confined spaces or at heights?
That's interesting. It's about more than just being comfortable. It's about being safe and adaptable.
Exactly. Railway electronic technicians often work in tough spots, and they want to know you can handle it safely and get the job done.
So what's the best way to answer this one?
Focus on showing you understand the risks and how to stay safe. If you've worked in tight spaces, talk about ventilation, gas detectors, and how to communicate. If you've worked at heights, talk about your fall protection experience and how you always work safely.
And any special training would be good to mention.
Right. Absolutely. Shows you're prepared. Now, before we move on, I want to bring back RoleCatcher's AI. Did you know it can actually look at job descriptions and suggest skills and keywords to use in your answers?
Really? Wow, so it's not just for your CV. It's for making sure your interview answers match what employers want.
Exactly. It's another way RoleCatcher helps you out.
Okay, back to the questions. What's next?
This one might seem boring, but it's important. Explain the importance of documentation and record keeping in railway electronic maintenance.
I can see why accurate documentation is so important in this field. It's not just about fixing things. It's about keeping track of everything for safety and future reference.
You're right on track. Accurate records help diagnose problems faster, keep up with regulations, track repairs, and spot recurring issues.
So what are some key things to highlight when answering this one?
Start by explaining why documentation matters. How do good records help technicians work faster? How do they track repairs and make sure everything's compliant?
And they could talk about different ways they've documented things, right? Like databases, logs, even handwritten notes.
Yeah, the methods might be different depending on the company and the system, but the main thing is to show you care about clear, concise, and accurate records.
Okay, I'm ready for the next one.
This one's all about teamwork. Describe a situation where you had to collaborate with other departments or teams to resolve a complex issue in a railway system.
This makes me think about how connected everything is in a railway. You'd have to work with signaling, communications, power, maybe even track maintenance.
For sure. Railways are complex, so fixing problems often means working together.
So they're looking for someone who's a team player, good at communication, and can contribute to getting things done.
Exactly. Pick a situation where you are a key part of a team effort, maybe working with the signaling team to fix a communication problem, or the power department to fix a voltage issue.
And those soft skills are important too, right? Like communicating well, listening, being willing to compromise and find solutions that work for everyone.
Those are essential.
Okay, we're cruising through these. What's next?
This one really tests your communication skills. Describe a time when you had to explain a complex technical concept to someone with little to no technical background.
Ooh, this is a good one. Understanding technical stuff is one thing, but explaining it to someone who's not an expert is a whole different ballgame.
You said it. This question is about showing you can translate complex information into simple terms.
So what kind of situation would make a good example?
Think about times you've had to explain things to colleagues in other departments, clients, maybe even friends and family. Maybe you had to explain how a train control system works to non-technical people, or explain a basic electrical problem to someone who's not tech savvy.
Those are great examples. So it's not about dumbing things down. It's about finding the right level of detail and speaking in a way that anyone can understand.
Yes. And using things like analogies, metaphors, or pictures to make it more relatable. And just as important, make sure they're actually understanding you, not just nodding along.
That's such a good point. Active listening and clear communication are so important when explaining technical stuff. Okay, hit me with the next challenge.
All right, this one focuses on the final stages of a project. Describe your experience with testing and commissioning new railway electronic systems.
This sounds like making sure everything is ready for prime time, meeting all the safety and performance requirements before it goes live.
Exactly. Testing and commissioning are the final checks before a new system goes live.
So what kind of experience should our listener highlight here?
If they've done testing and commissioning, they should talk about the systems they've worked with, the tests they've done, and the tools they've used. Explain their understanding of testing procedures, how they interpret the results, and their experience documenting everything.
I bet any experience fixing problems during testing would be great to mention too. It shows they can think on their feet and find solutions under pressure.
Absolutely. It shows their problem-solving skills and how they adapt to challenges.
All right, what's next?
Back to safety. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others when working on or near active railway tracks? Remember, this job has real risks, so they need to know you take safety seriously.
So it's not just about saying, I follow all the safety rules.
No, you got to be more specific and show you understand the dangers and what you do to stay safe.
So our listeners should talk about knowing the track safety rules, using their protective gear, and always looking out for trains.
Exactly. And go beyond the basics. Talk about knowing the track layout, the hazards, and never going on active tracks without permission and the right safety measures.
So it's about making safety a part of everything you do.
Exactly. And showing you care about your safety and the safety of everyone around you.
Okay, we've covered so much. Are we ready for the final question?
Bring it on. All right. Picking up where we left off, let's look at this one. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others when working on or near active railway tracks? This one's all about safety, a big deal for railway electronic technicians.
It's a good reminder that safety is paramount in this field.
Absolutely. It's not just about knowing the rules, it's about showing them you understand the dangers and how to stay safe.
So what are some things our listeners should emphasize when answering this question?
They should talk about knowing the track safety rules, using their protective gear, and always looking out for trains. Those are the basics, but go beyond that. Talk about knowing the track layout, the hazards, and never going on active tracks without permission, and the right safety measures.
So it's about integrating safety into every aspect of the job.
Exactly, and showing that you truly care about safety. Okay, ready for the last question. This one's a bit more about you. What are your career aspirations within the field of railway electronics?
Ooh, I like this one. It's a chance for our listeners to share their passion and show they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, it's about more than just wanting a job. It's about showing where you see yourself growing in this field.
So how could someone give an answer that really makes them stand out?
Focus on showing genuine interest and highlight specific areas where you want to learn and grow. Maybe you're interested in specializing in something like signaling systems or communications, or maybe you want to move into a leadership position within the maintenance department.
And this is a great opportunity to bring up those professional development activities we discussed, right?
Absolutely. Talking about those certifications, conferences, or courses shows you're putting in the effort to advance your career. It shows initiative and a commitment to continuous learning.
That's great advice. Well, I think we've covered a ton of ground today, from the technical aspects to the importance of safety, communication, and teamwork. We even dove into how RoleCatcher's resources, especially their AI tools, can give you a real advantage in your job search.
We did. And for anyone out there interested in this career path, I highly recommend checking out RoleCatcher.
They've got a wealth of information and support to help you succeed. Remember, the key is preparation. The more you practice, the more confident you'll be going into that interview. And let your passion shine through. Show them why you're the perfect fit for this exciting role.
Good luck to all aspiring railway electronic technicians out there.
And that wraps up our deep dive for today.